Hi, I just want to do a quick little tutorial about file sizes and resolution for both Photoshop and Illustrator and how to create a new file. So I'm going to start here in Photoshop, CS5. I'm going to go to File, New, and let's leave it untitled for now. And the first thing you'll see here is Preset, Custom. And these settings here just happen to be the last thing that I had opened. So you can choose some of the presets. These are actually two that I created myself. I can show you how to do that too. There's the default Photoshop size, US paper, international paper, just basic paper sizes. If you're working with photo, it'll give you some basic presets for that, web, mobile devices, etc. If you choose web, you'll see that you have some more drop-down menus. This gives you the pixel size, 1024 by 768, which is a standard screen size. And you'll see you have all the way down to 640 by 480, 800 by 600, which a lot of the assignments say 800 by 600. So you could just choose that, and you want to make sure that 72 pixels per inch. And of course, if it's sometimes it'll be in inches, and you'll be like, oh, I don't know, 11 inches. What do I do? Just make sure you have it on pixels. Because since we're really just designing for screens right now and for web, we can just use that preset. Color mode, RGB, keep it at that. CMYK is for print, and these other ones could be for other uses. And 8-bit is fine too. Now here's something that some students have had a little issue with, is they create a new document, and there's this crazy white and gray checkerboard. That's because they had the background contents set to transparent, which is a very useful thing in many cases. But since we're just using the white background as just like a white paper for our designs, we just choose white. And there are some advanced things which you can change the color profile, and you could change the pixel aspect ratio. Don't do that. Keep it square. You're not doing video. There's where you can change it for video. And there's about 1 billion color profiles, none of which you really need to worry about right now. Working RGB for my computer is Adobe RGB 1998 because that works good with my printer. You might have yours set to sRGB. Either one is fine. Probably most of these would be fine since we're not really getting into that. And if you wanted to, if you changed some settings and you got it the way you liked it and you said, that's great, I want to save this so I always have it, then you could just hit Save Preset. When you do that, it gives you automatically a name based on the pixel size. And you could put whatever you want in there. You could put, FND 112 or whatever in there, and it would save it. Okay, so that's how you do in Photoshop. Let's just open this now that we have it. And let's see, did I choose white? Yes, okay. And there you go. And now you can start doing your designing. And of course, you may see that your tool palette may be 2 columns like this, and you click on that, it changes it. There's a lot of things you can do to change your workspace if you want to get into that, and there may be different panels over here, and there's all these different things you could bring up if you wanted to find them. If you can't find something, they're usually under Window or View. Like I have my rulers set to pixels. If you go to File, Preferences, and where is that? File, actually, Photoshop Preferences, General. And you can change all kinds of things here. If you don't like your cursors for your brushes, you can change them. If you want guides to be a different color, there's just all kinds of things. Units and rulers, I have mine set to pixels. You can change it to inches if you need to. All sorts of things you can do. You will probably want guides on. Let's see, that's under View, Show, Guides. I have smart guides. Okay, so I need a new guide. To do that, all you have to do is click and drag on your ruler, and there's a guide. Click and drag on your ruler, there's a guide. Or you could go to New Guide and have it in an absolute position. And these are just things that help you line things up. So those are some basic tools you should also get used to now that I'm here explaining how to do a new document. So let's then take a look at Illustrator. And of course you know how to save at this point, hopefully. Go to File, Save for Web and Devices, and you usually choose maximum JPEG 100, optimized, and convert to sRGB is not a bad idea. And then Done. And you click which one you want. These different ones gives you options. Okay, so now we're going to try Illustrator. And we go to File, New, and I'm going to just choose Web to start with. Number of artboards, 1. You could have more than one, but that gets a little confusing. Size, again, the default is 800 by 600, and these only 3 presets here for this one. Now, this time I'm actually going to show you that all you need to do, if you want to change it, is just change it. I'm going to make mine 1200 pixels wide by 1000 pixels. And of course, you can change it to other units. Orientation doesn't really matter. It automatically changes it because I'm telling it what I want. Bleed, don't mess with that. Don't need it. That's for print. Advanced color mode, RGB or CMYK. We always like RGB for print or for screen. And now here's something I want to explain a little bit. Raster effects. Screen 72 dpi, medium 150, high 300. Really, the only two settings for the DPI or PPI is going to be 72 or 300. Now, in Illustrator, it doesn't really matter because you're going to you can scale things up as much as you want in Illustrator because they're vector-based images. But as soon as you save and rasterize it as a JPEG, rasterize, what that means is you're actually taking all that vector information, which is simply points and lines and basically like a graph. That's why you can scale it up because there's no actual visual information. Then when you save it as a JPEG, well, JPEGs in Photoshop are both based on raster images, which is pixels. So like if you have a line, like a curved line like this in Illustrator, all it is in Illustrator is basically geometric information of where the point is, like X and Y coordinates, and that arc, and the angle and so on. Whereas in Photoshop, it's actually little building blocks, like a little staircase, like little pixels, and that's the difference. So you'll see that in Illustrator you can have nice clean lines, but if you make them the wrong resolution or you try to blow them up too much once they're a JPEG, they start looking like little jaggedy lines and edges. So anyway, that doesn't really matter so much because if you start with a big enough artboard, 1200 by 1000 for example, you can always shrink down. You can't enlarge. In other words, if you made it really small and then you saved it as a JPEG and then you made it bigger in Photoshop, you would get all that kind of jagged edge kind of stuff. So start big, and you can just set this to 72. I should also mention that the two main settings. 72 is really for anything screen-based, like the web. And since we're doing this all over the web, that's fine. Now, if you want to print something, you probably want it at least 300. So if you're working as a photographer and you're working in Photoshop, or if in these future designs you think, well, I really want to print these things out, then you should actually work in 300. And then when you are done with your assignment and you want to save it as a JPEG, you would then save as save for web and devices and change it to 72. Because 300, there's no difference on the screen. You can't see it looking any better because your screen can't really show that. Okay, so preview mode, I don't even know what that is. This, align new objects to pixel grid, not really that important. Might as well check it. I don't want to get into the details of it. It just means that it lines things up according to the pixels, which can be helpful, I guess. Okay, there we go. So there we are, our brand new artboard. And again, same thing over here. Some people have it like this. Some people have it like this. You may have different things here. You may have different panels. All that stuff under view and window. Guides, lock guides, hide guides, smart guides should be checked. Show grid. Yak! Ooh, I don't like show grid, right? Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't like it. Oops, I lost it already. Where'd it go? Oh, I don't know how to get rid of it. Hide grid, hide grid. Oh, phew, there, much better. So anyway, snap to grid, snap to point. There's all sorts of things you can do. Again, rulers, if you want to see your rulers, there's your rulers. You want to change them, looks like these are set to pixels, you can change them again in the same place under Illustrator Preferences. Okay? So hopefully that makes things a little easier to get started.